kitchen. So today I'm going to show you guys how to create the easiest creme brulee ever. Now this method doesn't require any boiling, no water bath, and I'm also going to show you guys how to do it without a blowtorch as well. Now this has always been one of my favorite desserts growing up. It's basically a sort of like heavy custard that's covered with a caramelized and hard sugar top that's so satisfying to crack. Now I'm going to show you guys how I've done it using my simple home cooking methods, and hopefully you guys will find it useful as well. As always, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could hit the like button, and if you enjoy my content, remember to subscribe and also hit the bell button so that you can know exactly when my next video is coming out. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys later. Before we start, you'll want to preheat the oven to 110 degrees Celsius. For this recipe, we're going to only use egg yolks, so let's begin by separating the yolks from the egg whites. I usually store the egg whites in an airtight container in the fridge or freeze them for future consumption. You can use the leftover egg whites for a number of other recipes such as macarons, meringues, or use them in some fluffy Japanese pancakes, for example. We're going to start by adding some sugar and vanilla extract to our egg yolks. Using a whisk, I'm going to mix everything together until it's well combined. Try not to over whip, as we don't want too much air to go into the mixture. Next, we're going to incorporate the cream into the mixture and gently mix until it's well combined as well. Alternatively, you can use a spatula or a wooden spoon to mix these ingredients together so that it doesn't incorporate too much air. To make sure that we get a nice and smooth custard, I'm going to pass the mixture through a strainer. I'm pouring it into a jug so that it's easier to pour into our ramekins afterwards. Let's now divide the mixture. I'm using quite tall ramekins, so this will yield about 4 creme brulees for me. Of course, you can also use more shallow and wider containers if you want to maximize the caramelized surface. Once done, I like to gently drop the ramekins to help burst any small bubbles inside the mixture. I also like to use the blowtorch to gently remove the layer of foam and bubble that usually forms by lightly hovering the fire on top of the surface. Obviously, you can skip this step if you don't have a blowtorch. Simply leave your ramekins to rest for a few hours in the fridge. It'll help the bubbles burst. We're now going to move to the oven. As you can see, we're not using a water bath, so make sure that your oven temperature does not exceed 110 degrees Celsius. My ramekins are quite tall. They're about 5 centimeters in height, so I left them there for an hour. In principle, you should bake it for at least 35 minutes depending on the thickness of your custard. Once the baking's done, you should get a nice custard with a flat surface and also a slightly wobbly center. Leave the ramekins to rest for a bit outside until they cool down, then refrigerate for at least 4 hours, and preferably overnight so that the custard can set properly. Now for the fun part. Once your custard is now chilled and ready to serve, we're going to create the caramelized top. I'm using some golden castor sugar. Regular granulated sugar will work just fine. Cover the entire surface of your custard with a thin layer of sugar. Then using your blowtorch, start caramelizing the top. Starting from the center, then working outwards. You want the caramelized top to get a dark and rich color, so don't hold back on the blowtorch action. I don't know about you, but I find watching the process of caramelization weirdly therapeutic. Don't forget to caramelize the borders as well. Wait for about 30 seconds and you should get a hard caramelized surface. To plate this up, I usually like to add some berries and a few mint leaves just to add a little pop of color. And that's it, we're ready to tuck in. But just before that, I'm going to show you guys how to do the caramelized top without a blowtorch. First, we're going to fill a baking tray with some cold water. Then, we're going to proceed as the normal method by covering the entire surface of the custard with a thin layer of sugar. We're now going to place the ramekin into the cold water bath and transfer it into the oven. I'm only using one as an example, but you can obviously do this in a batch as well. We're going to use the oven on broiler mode in the highest setting. Make sure you put the ramekin as close to the top as possible. I left mine in there for about 5 minutes until all the sugar melted and started browning. Once done, take it out of the oven and the water container, and after about 30 seconds, you'll see that the top has nicely caramelized as well. It won't be as pretty or convenient as with a blowtorch, but it's definitely as tasty. Alright, so time to get cracking. Ideally, what you want to achieve is a really smooth and creamy custard and a really thin and crispy caramelized top. It's now time for the taste test. I was watching Emily in Paris the other day, and there was a scene where the fashion designer was going through a difficult time, so he's just lying on his bed with this enormous tray of creme brulee, and he was saying how they're not there to eat, you just crack it because it's very satisfying. And you know what? I can totally relate. Cracking the top is honestly half of the experience for me. But otherwise, you just can't fault the classic. The rich velvety vanilla custard mixed with the crispy caramelized sugar is a match made in heaven. Add a bit of acidity from the berries and you've got the perfect combo. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now if you did, remember to hit like and also subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, remember to hit the bell button so that you can know exactly when my next video is coming out. Now, if by any chance you decide to recreate this recipe, remember to also tag me on my Instagram. I'd love to share your work with the rest of my audience as well. So yeah, until next time, guys, take care.